Meat eaters beware. You are about to listen to an episode that features talk of vegetarianism, veganism, and overall not eating any meat. All of the info that you hear in this podcast should definitely be checked with a dietitian. If you think about changing to a vegetarian diet, you should talk to your doctor first. All the research will be in the description, but as always, humans are fallible and your doctor knows more than we do. Hope you enjoy the episode. Thank you for listening. Hey everybody, welcome to Failing Forward, where we believe failure can help you succeed. My name's Nick. I'm here with my co-host Harris, and we have two special guests today. First, my sister Heidi. Say hi, Heidi.
Hi, my name is Heidi.
Nice. Good job. And one of my closest friends, Jonathan. Say hi, Jonathan.
Hi, I'm John.
Nice. And today, I think we're not going to jump into it, but I want to ask you guys a fun question. If you were an animal, which animal would you be? Heidi's really excited. I know she's thought about this a lot.
I would be a pig, but I wouldn't want anybody to eat me, though. Okay, I'd be a pig, or maybe I'd be like a dolphin, or like something that swims.
You have to choose
like a
one.
whale. Why can't I have like a top three kind of thing?
Okay, maybe top three. Heidi gets top three if you guys want to do that.
Okay, hold on. Pig, whale, and then come back to me. I have to think about the third one.
Nice. Okay. What about, who's eager to say the next one?
I'm still thinking here.
Ooh, okay, I have my third one. An otter.
An otter.
That's a good choice.
It was pig, whale, otter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that. Okay.
Actually, I think I would just choose otter. Because, you could be land and... Actually, no.
Okay, we'll come back to you, Heidi.
Yeah, just come back to me.
Okay.
I would say I would be a bear. First and foremost, I like a bear. It's a cute animal. And the teddy bear with little circular ears.
I'd be a spider monkey.
Spider monkey?
The type that throws poop at people? Or
Can all monkeys do that?
Maybe, I don't know.
Is spider monkey
I definitely throw poop at you. That's I know for sure.
Oh, you throw it at me. Okay.
Definitely.
Great.
I'd have to choose something that flies, just because that'd give me the power of flight, which I don't currently have, unfortunately. So maybe like an eagle, some large bird. Flies.
Like a condor, be the biggest one.
Condor,
Vulture's a good one.
That's really smart.
They're kind of scary. Maybe a crow. Crows are cool.
A pterodactyl. I know it's kind of a dinosaur, but it doesn't exist anymore, but it flies.
Yeah, you'd be a unique flying animal.
Crow is a good choice because crows are incredibly smart. They can solve very challenging puzzles, and
you might even gain some intelligence by going to be a crow.
Exactly.
That's not a dig against John. I'm just saying.
It sounded like
you're
one.
just saying they're smart. You just said they're smart.
I was offended.
Yeah.
Animals, they sometimes know. I mean.
That's kind of what this
cat.
episode is about. Oh, go ahead.
I mean, my cat. She hangs out all day and sometimes has a nicer life than me. So maybe who's really smarter? Cleans up the poop. I do that.
Yeah. So, we created society, and now we're
society.
Before we just walked around and ate food, and we had a nice time. Maybe we died a little bit early, but at least it was good. That's actually, for anybody who's listening, and you guys, there's this really good book called Ishmael. I don't remember if Jonathan, I don't know if you've read this, but it's a book about a gorilla.
Tell me about you reading it.
Oh yeah, so it's a book about a sentient gorilla, and he talks about the history of humanity, and it's really interesting because it kind of bridges the gap between fiction and nonfiction, because it's a fictional story, but it's basically just like a rap. The author wrote this gorilla thing as a wraparound for his ideas. So he's really saying his ideas in real life, but it's a gorilla saying them. So it's kind of trippy because you're like, wait, is this applying to real life right now? And it's a very profound book. A lot of people really like it. I like it too. And what are you going to say, John?
I was going to say, I think you I think you told me about a completely different book. None of that sounds even remotely familiar. So I think I am completely mistaken.
Okay, good. Well,
The other book was Moby Dick.
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Because
Yeah.
his name is Ishmael.
Yeah. There's some reason he's named Ishmael. It's like a reference to something, but I don't remember. I think he was
the
named
reference to
after the
book
guy from Moby
that you
Dick.
just talked about.
Maybe, yeah. Either way, we can get onto the topic for today, which brings me to another question. When was the last time you guys ate animal meat?
Oh, for me, it's been 12 years.
12
Because I went
years.
vegetarian when I
Wow.
was 11. Yeah, now I'm 23.
I didn't even know you were that young when you did that.
Yeah.
That's really impressive.
I didn't know that either. Wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive. Okay.
What about you, John?
The last time I ate meat, I ate fish though, so that
Mm-hmm.
some people count that. I've been a pescetarian since Thanksgiving of 2014, so I'm about to hit 10 years.
Oh, yeah, that's a long time.
Wow.
Too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you,
That's
Harris?
impressive. 10 minutes ago, because I ate food right before I started the podcast.
Yeah, and I'm at like maybe 2 or 3 hours out of chicken breast, half a chicken breast. Chicken breast cutlet. So, the topic for today, I mean, you guys all know, I'm just doing this for the listeners. The
All
topic
about the
today is
listeners.
about vegetarian and veganism, or I guess I would want to call it plant-based, but I'm not sure if it seems like plant-based means something slightly different. Like you can be vegetarian and that means plant-based, but if you're plant-based, then you're not necessarily vegan. And there's like
Yeah.
Huh.
it's like a
I think-
mentality
Control.
thing.
Oh, because is the difference between plant-based and vegan is like the decision of why you did it? Like plant-based is more for a diet purpose, and then vegan is more for like the lifestyle of
I think that could
doing
be.
it for the animals.
That's definitely a big thing. There's a lot of reasons that people go vegan. But I'll let you guys, why did you guys, of the two of the four of us are vegetarians. So why did you guys go vegetarian? Start with Heidi.
Oh man, I was hoping John would start.
Okay, John, you
Well-
can
Oh,
start.
I could start. It's fine.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so on the surface level, the reason I became pescatarian was because my mother had started doing it in 2012, and so she didn't cook it at home for us, and so the only time I really ate meat was when I was out, and we didn't go to restaurants all the time or anything, so that was already very rarely. And then one Thanksgiving, my mom cooked a turkey, and it was really, sorry, Mom, it was really awful. She hadn't eaten meat at this point for 2 years, so you can't really blame her. She couldn't taste her own food.
Was she
terrible.
just making it for you guys? Like she thought
We had a party, like a Thanksgiving party.
so
the
other
guests,
people
of
wanted
course, yes,
Yeah.
expected
Interesting.
turkey.
Yeah.
What was bad about the turkey? Was it too dry, not flavorful enough, just a weird texture on your
Oh
tongue?
man, it was dry. I already don't like turkey that much. It was like the driest, weirdest tasting. I was like, you know what? I'll just try pescatarianism, see if I can even do it. And that was 10 years ago. So
Dang.
So
Was
what's
it
your
easy?
favorite way to prepare fish?
Both.
baked
Answer both
maybe,
questions.
or it depends.
Hmm.
The catfish, you can fry it. Delicious.
Mm-hmm.
I like some
Nice.
baked salmon. Yeah.
Speaking my language here. This is some good choices.
At least we can agree on eating some animals. All right, Heidi, what do you think? Why did you go vegetarian? I feel like it's different.
Well, our mom, I remember she watched all the documentaries about like the animal industry, about how they're slaughtered. And then she's like, "You want to do this, Heidi?" I said, "Sure." And then it was a little bit hard to like stick to it because I remember eating some meat, like I would eat salmon, like in the beginning, or I really like Hawaiian pizza. People will
Mm-hmm.
say something about that, the pineapple, I know, but
Mm-hmm.
but then after that hump, then it just stuck with me. And then and it was nice for someone to do it with me. Like, I made it easier that
Mm-hmm.
mom didn't eat meat either.
Yeah, actually,
Absolutely.
you both probably have that in common because
Mhm.
it's really hard if you're trying to do it yourself and your whole family doesn't really support you. Is
Yeah.
that true? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm lucky. My family is very supportive of that, and I think that's why I was able to do it, because I would talk to my friends and then they're like, oh, like my family won't let me do that, or like my family eats a lot of meat, like I couldn't do that. Like it's
Yeah.
different, and especially when you're at that age too, because you just when you're young, you just eat what your family makes you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I personally want to think that you guys brought up the reasons of like wanting to. It's first of all, it's just better for animal welfare, and there's also a small reason about not small reason, but the secondary reason, which is it's better for the environment because animals generate a bunch of methane. I think it's somebody estimated
Yeah.
it's 12% of either methane or greenhouse gases come just from animal production,
Yeah.
which is
I don't do it for the
cool.
animals. I don't care about them. Do it for me.
Controversial opinion. But yeah, there's many different reasons, and I feel
Do care
like
about animals.
the animals are good. I feel like you guys, all vegetarians, vegans, it's probably better now than it was before, but you guys all get lumped into the same persona. Do you think that's still the case? Maybe vegetarian isn't so bad, but like vegans definitely have the whole, if they assume you're a member of PETA and that you are going to yell at them if you order something that has milk in it. And
Yeah.
Stigma.
yeah,
That's a big stigma. When you tell people that you don't eat meat, they automatically think like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna eat meat though." Like that you care. We don't care. Most of
yeah,
us don't care.
Yeah.
But then they feel weird about it. Yeah.
There's been very
Yeah.
few people who really can't understand it or anything.
Yeah.
Most recently, when I was living in Arizona, I had one coworker. He just could not understand what I ate. I was like, "What do you mean?"
Yeah,
It's-
I think it is. That was one thing when I was watching videos and doing some research about this. There's definitely people who totally misunderstand like nutrition. Like, what do you guys eat? What is it like? How do you get the big thing is not a lack of protein. Like, how do you guys?
Oh, you're asking.
Yeah, what do you guys do to not just
It's
get
no
protein,
sign
but
of
like,
you.
what do you think about when you're eating? Like, what are your go-tos?
Like go-to foods that have protein in them.
Or any of them? Just like, what do you eat? What do you eat? Like Jonathan's coworker just said, I don't know what you eat.
I made a list actually before coming on here because I knew you'd
Nice.
ask this. Do you mind to read it?
Yeah, read off the list.
I went through my whole fridge and. All right. So we got beans, major source of protein. Eat a lot of beans in different forms.
Beans!
Vegetables, spinach, carrots, eggplant. A lot of tomatoes. That's me personally. I like tomatoes. A lot of dairy. There's a lot of animal fat and calories and proteins in milk too.
Right.
Fish, like we already talked about. Rice, just rice and pasta.
Carbs.
Carbs, bread.
Yeah.
And there's like stuff like tofu, tempeh, and nuts, but it's like a snack. Yes.
That's a pretty well-rounded diet right there. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds
Yeah.
pretty
Thank
healthy. You didn't put Oreos on there.
Yeah. Don't
Yeah,
eat
where's the
Oreos
ice
like
cream?
that.
Potato chips?
It goes in dairy, yeah. Definitely
Yeah.
ice cream, potato chips are in there. Did I miss anything, Heidi?
No, I would agree with that. I think lentils, but I think that's beans too. That goes in the same family.
Oh yeah. Legumes.
And this doesn't have protein in it, but I eat a lot of beets. But I know some people like
Yeah.
beets, but Some people don't, but I would agree with that. I eat a lot of Greek yogurt, and I eat a lot of granola too. Not a lot, but I
Yeah.
eat it once a day, I would say, for breakfast. But I think, yeah, including John's list. But I
Right.
don't think I have anything really to add to that.
Yeah, I think that's a good list. That's kind of what I was reading about. Like there's like when you I think the American diet, you just eat a bunch of meat and then you
Yeah.
put something around it to fill it out. Like you eat a whole steak. But really, I was surprised to learn that like every grain has some protein in it. Like flour that's not been like whole wheat flour has like 4 grams of protein per serving, whatever that is. And then lentils are like 8 grams, quinoa is like 8 grams. And compared to steak, I think steak for the same weight is like 12 grams. So it's pretty close to meat. But then there's also some other complications. What were you going to say, John?
It is difficult to get protein sometimes. Like,
Yeah.
I'm on kind of a workout kick right now, and I'm trying to do like 2 grams per kilogram, you know. Getting up to that level is difficult without protein powder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's doable. But I think most Americans are, I think I read once, most Americans are protein deficient.
Yeah.
I definitely would believe that for people who don't eat meat.
Mhm.
I was actually going to ask. I don't know how much this applies to you, John, but Heidi, something so I have a couple friends who have tried to go vegan. I know you said you're vegetarian, but I still think the question kind of applies. Where when they first started, one of the things they struggled with the most was balancing their diet and making it well-rounded, and they would kind of become exhausted. And one of the key reasons was they were missing out on nutrients that you kind of take for granted that you get from meat that you suddenly no longer get and you're not supplementing properly. And I was curious if you ever ran into that when you started or if you were just fine with it from the get-go and it never impacted you.
Yeah, so I actually was vegan for 4 years. And so definitely I would say that applied to me. I don't know if I ever got any of that because yeah, I think when I took out all the eggs and the dairy, I just replaced it with carbs, with like bread and potatoes. And I don't think I ate enough protein. And not saying you can't eat enough protein. It's definitely doable, but I don't think it was something on my mind. And I didn't realize that till now. And I'm like, wow, I feel so much better on how I eat right now versus I did when I was vegan. I just don't think I balanced it well. And I don't think I ate very, people assume when you're vegan that you're very healthy. I think I went days without eating a vegetable.
Oh my God. Do you consider like beans a vegetable? How does that?
I don't think beans are a vegetable, are they? They're a legume, Nick.
So you ate beans though. I thought you meant like
Yeah,
you
I would
didn't
say
eat plants at all.
beans. I eat
Okay.
fruit, I eat beans, but I don't think because
Okay.
I eat a lot of like the processed stuff, like the meat
Mhm.
substitutes and stuff like that, which not that those are bad, but they are really processed and probably shouldn't be eating them every day.
You're talking about like
Yeah.
Impossible Beef and those kind of things.
Yeah, those kind of things, yeah.
Okay. John, is that something you eat a lot too? Impossible Beef and those knockoffs?
So I don't like those really, especially I think a lot of, Heidi, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of pescatarian people don't like it when it's like really, really trying to imitate. It freaks me out a little bit, like the Impossible ones that are like, they have the fake blood and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't like that either. It's
Give
kind
me
of
a
weird.
black bean burger. That's what I want.
Oh, yeah.
They
I
have
would
fake
rather.
blood now. I did not know that.
Well, it's like
Yeah.
beet juice or something. They add some
It's
stuff.
Yeah,
all
they
types
do.
of stuff. But no, yeah, I think if you don't plan it out and make it a priority to eat like whole real foods, it's really easy to eat a bunch of processed food. You don't eat meat because you're saying, okay, I'm just going to make this meal and substitute. It's really easy to substitute, tempeh or tempeh's not unhealthy, but fake bacon crumbles, which you don't know what the heck is in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
they got a lot of weird stuff in there sometimes, especially weird preservatives and stuff. And it's
Yeah,
you
they're
know,
not.
it's like anything.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, they're not really good for you. Because they're
Yeah.
really processed, and they just have like a lot of fat in them.
Yeah, I
But
really. Oh, what are you gonna say, Heidi?
no, you say because I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay. Yeah, I really like how when you go vegan, you basically cut out this big portion of what you'd normally eat, and then you either have like the processed junk on one side or just like regular vegetables, and you probably weren't eating vegetables already, or if you were, we'd think of them in like a very specific way where it's a side. So you usually would just buy like frozen fake chicken nuggets or something and just add that in. I've also thought
Yeah.
like what John said about getting a black bean burger instead of just like the fake hamburger. Like if you're going to
Yeah.
go vegetarian, I guess if you're doing it for environmental reasons, then it would make sense if you're like you still like the taste of meat, because that's one big thing that makes us tough is meat pretty much objectively tastes good if it's made well. And that's like that's like a number one hard thing to get people to stop eating it is sad enough that it tastes good. So these fake substitutes are good for like the very beginning, but it's probably not sustainable because if you're just eating this fake meat, then it's like you said, you don't know what the heck's in that thing.
Really expensive
Like a
too.
vape.
Yeah, it is expensive. Yeah, I think that's what it's made for. It's made to transition, but not really like you've been doing it for a while. You don't eat that stuff. Like, yeah, I don't really eat
Yeah.
them.
So is it expensive to be vegetarian? I feel like I've heard that. Like it's
No,
and
I wouldn't
and
say so.
was it expensive at first? Because you said it's like a transition thing.
I think people think it's expensive because they look at the fake meat at the store, they look at all that stuff, and they're like, oh, that's expensive. And they think that people
Mhm.
just live off of that. When really that's not the reality. If you're not buying a lot of the substitutes, then it's not expensive. It might even be cheaper depending how you eat. I think it could be cheaper depending how you eat. Because meat is expensive too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Especially these
I
days,
think,
meat's going in price. I don't buy it obviously, but I see that and hear that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I completely agree. Depends on what you're eating. Junk food's
Yeah, I
always
think
going to
if
be
you're
expensive.
Yeah.
eating more
You know?
whole foods like beans and rice and more whole foods, I
Stuff's
think, yeah,
cheap.
it could be really cheap. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
As a meat buyer, I can confirm the fact that meat is expensive. It's probably the biggest contribution to my weekly grocery run.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it depends what
Yeah.
meat you buy too. Because if you're buying like the grass fed, I don't even know what it is now, grass fed,
Lovingly
mainly.
raised, hugged every
Lovingly
day, grass-fed chickens.
I thought you
Yeah,
were
that
talking about Wagyu beef there. Get that thing drunk.
do they really?
Hmm.
At least they treat the cow
It's a
good
big
before.
cow that they massage every day and they
Yeah.
feed it like some sort of wine, and it's just having a great life, and then they kill it. I guess.
Uh,
That's how you get the nice marbling on the beef, you know? It's worth it. But yeah.
whoever thought of that? Who
They just
thought to do
Hey,
that?
John,
Massage a cow and get it drunk? And then who thought of that?
they
Like,
probably
who
just
thinks
learned
of
it.
that?
They just learned it from real life. They're like, people like that, so why wouldn't a cow like that?
That's a good point.
But we don't eat people here.
but John, is fish not expensive? A few times I've bought in fish, I thought it was a little pricey, but it's been a while, so.
Yeah, it can be. You got to look for those deals. I'll do a mix of frozen and like fresh. Like I'll get salmon if I'm gonna bake it, from the seafood person. But I'll just keep cod fillet frozen in there from Costco, and it depends. I don't eat that much fish, honestly. Probably like once every 2 weeks, so it's not even like a huge thing.
I kind of assumed that was like a daily meal of yours, but this is more like an infrequent kind of treat, we could call it.
I guess maybe that's because it's expensive and it's more difficult to prepare. I guess too sometimes.
Mhm.
Although when I was working out all the time, living alone a few years ago, I ate fish probably twice or 3 times a week because it can be it is very protein, very high in protein. So maybe I'll change that too because I'm trying to more protein in my diet. But
Mhm.
I think it's those
And it's
scale.
good for you.
Yeah, it's omega
Get those
3.
omega-3s, fatty
Yeah,
acids. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can get those from nuts, can't you?
I'm
You
Or
not
like
can, Nick,
sure.
you're right.
oils.
Right in the
Yeah.
nail. You're right. I
Okay.
think pretty much all. I don't know if all nuts have it. I know walnuts do.
Yeah,
The
those are
omega-3s.
expensive too, though. It doesn't really save anything.
Well, maybe it's an investment, though, right? Good investment into your
Mm.
health.
Nice. That's a good way to
Nice,
say it.
nice. See how I did that?
Good way to
Yeah.
say it.
Oh,
So we're
You
guilt
know what?
tripping John here.
oh no, I'm not guilty. Like I said, the fish. Sorry, my food.
I do really like fish too. It does taste good. I'm curious how we got here with the because it seems like vegetables are really cheap. Like I mean, if you look at cultures like Ireland, most people ate a bunch of potatoes mostly because they couldn't afford meat. But I guess we scaled up our production of animals, and now it's like the animal welfare went down, but you're making more meat. I guess people are saying people think that's a problem with everything. Like we're making more crops and we're having fewer nutrients in the crops nowadays. I'm not sure if that's actually true or if it's just now we've started measuring the nutrients. But it's definitely an idea that people are having because the soil is losing nutrients.
I've definitely heard that as well. Like, you take an apple from 100 years ago, it was a lot more and more nutrients and more calories than an apple today. And I don't know what that's from. Maybe it's from the soil, like over using it or
Yeah.
something like that. Maybe it's those pesticides that we're pumping full of everything, and who knows?
Yeah.
GMOs.
GMOs. Well, some
Yeah, there's
GMOs
that whole
might be putting
discussion.
nutrients in. I'm not really sure.
Super apples is what they're making nowadays.
Yeah, I saw a thing where, kind of like John said, like they took a fruit from before and they compared it to now, and everything's bigger now. And like an apple that you buy at the grocery store is way bigger than when they didn't genetically modify it.
Yeah.
Everything's bigger.
There's also
Probably
just been
has
selective breeding
nutrients.
though. Like they just only propagated plants that had big apples. So
Yeah, to make the most money, what people
Yeah.
get in the grocery store.
Mhm.
Uh,
So
I wait. I have
all
a
right.
question
Okay.
for
What's the question?
you, Nick, and for Harris. But how would you say that you eat meat with every meal? Every meal of your
Yes.
day, do you eat meat?
Yes.
Really?
Or do you
Nice.
have oh, breakfast you don't eat meat and then da da da. Like what does a normal day look for you guys?
I don't usually eat breakfast, mostly out of laziness, because this is gonna sound dumb, but when I wake up, it's like I usually go to work or I start working on something, and I'd rather spend the time there instead of eating breakfast and then go in it. But yes, I do eat meat with every meal. And John, I'm on the same kick as you are with working out and getting protein in, and that's how I do it. So
Mhm.
yeah, I usually do chicken or beef, although I've tried to stay away from beef because red meat has its own health risks if you overconsume it. And chicken is one of the most versatile things out there, and it can be prepared in many different ways. And if I don't have meat with the meal, I actually kind of feel like I didn't eat a fulfilling meal, and then I have to get it on my next one. So I'm an
Wow.
addict, guys.
I'm a meat addict, meat murderer.
Yep,
So
that's me.
I wanted to say about chicken. There's I do like the taste of meat, but meat is so annoying sometimes because first of all, chicken, if you like just cook a chicken breast and then you microwave it the next day, for some reason, sometimes I've had this happen where it will taste like dog food.
Oh.
And it's not like I prepared it in a really weird way. It's a roasted chicken breast, and then when you microwave the next day, smells like dog food, and not the whole thing, just like the skin. It's
So
just like
you've
disgusting.
eaten dog food before. Your
Yeah, I was gonna
experience.
say you have a
Is it high
comparison point.
quality dog food or is it the stuff you buy at the
No,
dollar
it's
store?
it's like Aldi dog food. Aldi is a good store, but
Yeah.
they don't have very good quality stuff. You know, it's
What
like
kind of container are you keeping it in the fridge?
I think I just left it on a plate, and then I would cover the plate with
Oh.
something.
Oh, okay.
Might be it, man. Put it in
don't
some
think so.
airtight container.
Yeah.
I don't
What are you
know.
doing, man? I've never had my chicken smell
The
like
chicken I
dog
ate
food.
today, I put it in an airtight container and I didn't microwave it. I'll microwave it tomorrow to see if it tastes like dog food. I think it's still going to taste like dog food. I think it's going to be terrible. And the other thing about meat, it's just nasty when it goes bad. Like, I mean, it's just the smell. Obviously, you can say, oh, don't just eat the meat before it goes bad. But there's so much effort put into just keeping meat good. Like, you slaughter an animal and you probably have like less than a week. And that's if you're keeping it cold. Or you freeze it and then it lasts a lot longer. But meat goes bad like immediately. So there's like so much effort in this meat industry just to keep it going. It seems like a waste because it's if we can like invest in other protein sources. It is hard to get enough protein if you're working out like you guys are saying, but it seems like it would be better for society not knowing how the whole system works together if we could just all eat vegetables and get our protein from like easier to manufacture, longer lasting grains. Like
Actually, on that note, there was a question I was going to ask that's related to a study that I read about where they essentially, I'm just going to paraphrase it here, they grew beef in a lab by transplanting some cells from a cow, putting it in like a petri dish, and then incubating it or whatever the proper scientific process is, and they end up with like grown beef. And my question was going to be if we figured out how to do that at scale, would you guys eat meat again, or are you so far in your routine and your daily lifestyle that you just wouldn't go back even if that was an option?
I heard about that. I think that's definitely a good option for people, and probably better for the environment to do that if it is sustainable. I don't know how much meat you could grow in a lab, but I don't think I personally would eat it because I'm just at the point where I've done it for so long that like meat kind of grosses me out. Yeah, like I don't have to worry about cooking it or cooking it to a certain temperature. I wouldn't eat it personally, but I think it's a good option for people.
Yeah, I've also heard of this. I would not eat it. If I went back to eating meat, I wouldn't eat it either. I don't think. I think I'd want to have a normal animal meat.
Yeah.
What's the repulsion there?
Just weird. Just weird.
Unnatural. God
But,
didn't intend for us to grow meat.
If it still had, like you mentioned, Harris, the red meat health side effects or negatives, unless that was solved, there's really, I mean, I wouldn't go back.
So the
I mean,
problem is
what's the
that it's
point?
beef.
Yeah, I guess what my point is that like I know it's more sustainable to eat my diet, but that's not why I do it.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. If it was chicken, would your answer still be the same?
Yes, because it's still weird, but I'm gonna stay open. You know, if it's around for a while and it's
Yeah. I'm curious how like taking a chemical process like that or whatever it is to scale probably I don't know what that would be like, but I'm sure it'd be weird. Like it might not I'm not sure how expensive it would be to amp that whole thing up so you get like thousands of pounds of fake meat a day.
capitalism will figure it out if it is profitable.
Yeah, people want it. I mean, I was surprised to hear I'm just thinking of this like bread. Like these meat processing people who make deli meat, they just have like a huge vat of minced up like meat paste. And people who make bread loaves at scale have a huge vat of bread dough, and it like seems to act pretty much exactly the same. So there must be some, I wonder if this fake meat, whatever they're using to grow, like the more of it you have, the faster it grows. So you get like a big vat, maybe it just like exponentially gets faster to grow this meat, and then it just works out. I don't know. It would be interesting to see how it works, but actually, one thing I'll say, one reason why I think really the only strong thing that prevents me from going vegetarian is the lack of deli options on the vegetarian side. And like the amount of easy options where you go to store and just buy something at the deli counter and have them slice it up for you. I think it's fun. Deli meat is like a little fun thing. I really like deli meat. So if
I
they
can't
could,
remember the last time I've been to a deli.
yeah, I mean it's a fun thing. Go and the guy behind the counter really loves meat or something, and he'll slice it up for you. You ask for a quarter pound, like you know how much that is, and then he just knows how much that is, and he gives you a quarter pound of whatever you ask for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did read, I skimmed a little bit of the article talking about this. Right now, it is
Mhm.
not financially viable to make this lab-grown meat because it costs $300,000 to make a burger.
Nice.
And
Wow.
they describe the testing facility kind of like a massive brewery. So that kind of goes to what Nick was
Yeah.
saying about the bread and how they grow it. And John, to your point about it being weird, a lot of the initial feedback around this lab-grown meat is that it doesn't taste quite like real meat. And a lot of the theories is because cows walk around and the muscle builds up over time, which contributes to the flavor. But this is just sitting in a lab, just kind of growing without doing anything. So it does taste a little bit different than what people are expecting. So
Yeah.
you have a
Interesting.
good point. Don't blow your 300K on this burger yet. It's not ready.
All right, I won't.
That's really fun. Yeah, I like the idea of that burger. Maybe it will be at scale soon. We'll have to see where it goes. One thing I wanted to circle back to was about nutrients that you guys get from plants, because people talk about how hard it is to get protein. And something I started to hear about was this thing called bioavailability. And I don't know if you guys have heard about that, or have you struggled with that type of idea? Have you guys heard of that?
Wait, I don't know what bioavailability is. Please define.
I
Do you
don't
guys know what it
either.
is?
I don't know what it is.
I don't.
No, nobody knows. Okay, so apparently it's this new term that like complicates the whole thing, which is I brought up that example about quinoa versus beef versus wheat, and they all have protein,
Oh,
but the amount of protein that your body will actually get from that total amount is going to be less than what they can test for in the lab. So beef will have 12 grams of protein per ounce, but maybe you'll only actually get 11 to 10 just because of the way your body interacts with it. But then for grains, for plants, their bioavailability is lower than meat for protein and certain other nutrients too. Like the big one is obviously protein. You might not get as much of that protein, but another one is like nutrients. So the micronutrients. One big one is spinach. People say it's a good source of calcium, but apparently when you eat spinach, it forms some sort of acid in your stomach that prevents the calcium from being absorbed. So you only get, I think there was a number that I was reading in one of the sources that we'll link in the description. They said you only get like 10% of the calcium that people say is actually in spinach when you eat it, unless you cook it and then that changes it. But if you just eat raw spinach, it doesn't do that. I feel like a lot of meat eating people or people who are like anti-vegan or whatever, they bring up that idea saying like, oh, well, it's not even worth eating plants because you don't get any nutrients from them. What do you guys think about that?
I've never had an issue with that.
Yeah.
You usually just eat when I'm hungry until I'm not hungry anymore.
Yeah.
I take a vitamin, but
Mhm.
I think they recommend people who do a non-meat diet, take a vitamin, but I think they also recommend everyone take a vitamin. So
True. Us Americans.
I'm not. I don't know.
Like that doesn't worry you guys. What about you, Heidi?
I have heard about that. I don't know if it's anything. I think it's just too, like, always thinking like, oh, is this gonna does these foods go together? Is this gonna absorb? I think that's just too much. Like, just eat your food. Just too much to think
Just
about.
eat your food.
It's just
Yeah,
too
that
much
was-
to think about. Like, because then
That's-
it's gonna become like an obsession. You know, like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't get. No, it's not gonna absorb. It's not that, and people are gonna go crazy about it.
I definitely, yeah, in that article, they listed like every single micronutrient you could think of, like iron, zinc, calcium,
Wow.
all of them. There's like folate, niacin. I don't know what the other ones are, but they listed all of them. And they're like, here's something that will inhibit the absorption. And I'm like, this is like way too much. This is why people also probably think it's so difficult to be vegetarian, because they're citing all these things that make it so difficult. But
What website
mean,
was that? Meat.com?
meat.com. No. It was KHNI. Let me open this link and see what it was saying.
Notavegan.org, you know.
No, it seemed like it's the Cary Health and Nutrition Institute.
Okay.
So I don't know. It doesn't. They might be funded by meat industries. Usually these people are. Oh,
I
look
think
at this. Wait. Sorry, Heidi. The first article says a sustainable way for pathogen control in the meat industry. So it's like the top of their page.
Nice.
You know, it's that.
So they might be funded by meat stuff, but they didn't say it on the article what they were funded by.
Interesting.
I think
Well,
it's
yeah.
interesting, but I think you have to make it easy for people. You know, like vitamin C. If you eat vitamin C with something that has iron, then the iron's going to be absorbed better.
Right. That was a big thing.
Yeah, like make it simple. Like, oh, these foods go good together. Da, da, da.
Yeah.
You make it simple for people, I think they would do it and it'd be helpful. But
Mhm.
once you complicate it, it's going to be too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To that point, I think it's getting exponentially easier to not eat meat when you go to a restaurant, when you
Do you think
meet
it's
other
becoming
people.
easier? Because I
do.
don't think it's like, I don't think they have more options. I don't think a lot of places have still. I would think like 2024 they would have a lot of options, but I've gone to restaurants that it's still like you have to eat sides. Like they don't even have like a main entree without meat.
Mhm.
You have to,
Well,
Where are
like,
you
also in
guys
California
located?
now.
It might be like, okay, you're in California,
Yeah.
John?
Yeah.
Okay,
That's what it is, John. That's
Heidi,
what
No,
it
where
is.
are you?
I'm in Illinois. makes
Okay, see
sense.
that kind of
Midwest.
explains it.
What's like the
sense.
worst? What's the worst vegetarian meal you've had to eat at a restaurant where like all your friends had something? I'm not saying it was a shitty restaurant and the food was bad. Like your friends got good food and you were stuck with this. What was it?
Yeah, I'm not saying it's like bad food, but it's just not like a meal, like fries and like some fried food. Like that's
Mhm.
not. That's usually what
Yeah.
it is. Like like appetizers that are fried.
Mhm.
It's like it's good, it tastes good, but it's not like a meal.
Yeah.
It's not.
But I was really disappointed recently. It wasn't here in California, but I went to In-N-Out the first time.
Oh.
And, everyone here's In-N-Out is the most wonderful restaurant around.
Surf and
Heaven
turf
on
burger,
earth.
make it fly.
I go in there, and everyone else gets delicious food, just like you say,
Mhm.
other than Grace. But I say, what can I get? And it was animal style fries.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was,
Animal style. What does that mean?
They put like a sauce
like,
on the fries.
Cheese.
I
Like
wanted one of
special
those
sauce.
burgers.
Yeah, they don't have black bean burgers there.
No, they got like
No,
four
but
things on the menu, which I respect.
They do have the I think this is really dumb, but it's like the buns and they'll put like lettuce and there's no like meat and they just give that to you and that's like the vegetarian's burger.
They also have the grilled cheese, which is the same
Oh,
thing you're
yeah.
saying about, but just cheese onto hamburger buns. I got that. That was disgusting.
Nice.
Yeah,
it
that
sounds pretty
sounds
The
bad.
fries were decent, but the thing was
Yeah.
Heidi,
Yeah,
I
I
think
would
Yeah,
you're
like the
spot
cheap
on.
cheese.
Yeah, because I took this was a long time ago, but we went to, and don't judge, we went to Applebee's, and it was 2 vegetarians in our group and 2 non-vegetarians, and we were able to get like fish or something, and then the 2 vegetarians had like the tiniest bowl of soup you've ever seen that was ridiculously mediocre, and that was the
Mhm.
only vegetarian thing on the menu. It wasn't a choice. That was either that or
Mhm.
starve.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like all those chains, you think McDonald's doesn't have any like veggie burger or anything, or like Wendy's doesn't,
Yeah.
or yeah, I think the only one that does is like Burger King.
Yeah, they have the
They're like the
Impossible
Impossible
Whopper.
Burger.
They should have
But
called it the Impossible Whopper.
They
Just
also
putting that
started
out.
doing impossible pepperoni pizzas at one point, I think. There was like
Oh,
a short
yeah.
run promotion
Yeah.
that they did. It was pretty good.
Huh.
what was something I had? Oh, you know what Portillo's had? They had a veggie dog, like a hot dog, but it was
Oh,
meatless.
yeah.
Really?
Those
It
are
was
pretty
good.
good.
I liked it, and my
I
friend
like veggie
Destiny,
dogs. They taste pretty
it was
good.
good.
Oh man, that sounds
Yeah.
delicious.
Yeah, like
For
that
for
was good.
reference,
Portillo's.
Portillo's is a what do you call a fast
Oh
food joint
yeah.
that's like Chicagoland area. I don't know if they have places everywhere else in the U.S., but
I think
they
in
started in
Arizona and
Chicago.
Florida as well.
Yeah.
But
Arizona,
there are very few of
Florida.
them.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah, they're really good. Mostly known for like burgers and hot dogs, but some different locations have other things like pastas and
Yeah.
I don't know what those are.
So what do you guys think is the most difficult thing about being vegetarian? Is it the lack of options at restaurants, or like is there something you guys always have a tough time with or frequently have to encounter that is really annoying?
Socially, yeah, like when you go out, you don't really like I have a habit of bringing food with me everywhere I go. Like at work, I bring my food with me. Everywhere I go, if I know I'm gonna be out and need to eat, I bring my food with me. It's a habit because sometimes you don't know if there's gonna be options for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's what it is, like socially, like you don't know. Sometimes there are good options, but sometimes there's not.
Yeah.
Like you
So
don't
if
know
you're
what
at a
you're gonna.
restaurant and they don't have vegetarian options, you'll say, "No need to worry." You just pull out like a whole like set of like food and ingredients and make your own dinner.
Oh, no, I don't bring that. No, I don't do that. I think I just suck it up, and I know next time not to go there.
I'll have the salad.
What about you,
Um,
John?
yeah, major difficulties. Wrote
Mhm.
that down too, actually. Proteins on there.
Yeah.
I wrote down like, other people not understanding sometimes. I feel like it was more in the
Yeah.
past though.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then I put down this is a specific one because I ran into it last night. Refried beans. I have
Oh.
lard in them all the time, which is annoying.
Yeah.
So
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
It's good for me to know.
Yeah, it's like the hidden stuff. There's so much. I remember Heidi, you like learned all the weird things. There's like I guess a
Yeah.
big one is the fries at McDonald's where you fried in beef
Beef syrup.
tallow.
Mhm.
I don't
Beef
know if they
syrup.
still are. Yeah, I don't know if they still
Whichever
are,
one.
but that or like Pop-Tarts, the icing has gelatin in them.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
gelatin's
gelatin.
like what is gelatin? They boil the bones and all the discards from the
Yeah.
animal and then
Yeah.
I eat gelatin.
you
That's
know,
too much.
I've been
I
less
ate
picky
refried
about it
beans
now.
last night too.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry.
am
Yeah.
less picky about it, but
Yeah, I mean you
Uh,
can always keep going finer detail and like accept that right now it's tough, but it doesn't change the reason that you're doing it. It's just like it's okay if you happen to eat 1/2 of an ounce of gelatin or however much it is, as long as you're not eating a steak. Like there's gradations of it.
yeah.
um,
Yeah, I think actually I'm sorry, this is John's spotlight. I'll say this after you.
oh, I think I do have one more difficulty that I don't personally experience, but I can imagine other people might. is that if the people you live with eat meat,
Mhm.
like if my girlfriend Grace ate meat, that would make things so much more difficult because then
Yeah.
like there'd be meat on my pots and pans and my forks, and I
Yeah.
don't want that.
I
My
still.
fridge,
Oh yeah. Imagine smelly meat in your
meat
fridge.
dripping, blood dripping onto my vegetables.
Yeah. Oh, that's something.
I don't know what you guys do with your meat in your fridge,
I don't do
man.
anything with
Your
meat.
meals. It's got blood everywhere. It smells like dog food. I don't know what's going on over there.
Maybe because you buy like the most processed chicken that basically it wasn't even alive before they killed it. Didn't even have a
No,
life.
it should be reasonably fresh. It's halal meat, man. Come on.
Supposedly.
Supposedly, yes.
But yeah, I just think meat is nasty. It tastes good, but it's nasty to live with it, to try and put it in your fridge and everything. What were you gonna say, Heidi?
I think I forgot.
Okay. Well, I'll add the going to restaurants and like I definitely make it a thing to say like make sure you put the meat on the side. Like cuz Heidi and I went to breakfast the other day and I got pancakes with sausage and I said, "Could you please put the meat on another plate?" cuz I figured they were going to put it on the pancakes. And but it's always those things you just have to do cuz you don't want to get like meat grease all over food that you're going to share. Heidi and I were going to share the pancakes. So it's like that's like one of those things that's just annoying that society still doesn't. I mean, if you're ordering meat, they assume you don't care, but it's definitely a thing that people who just eat meat and don't think about it, it's an annoying thing. And if, like you said, John, if the person you're with or your family doesn't care, then they'll totally be doing those little things all the time, and it's just really tough. I don't know if you want to bring this up, Heidi, but I will. Our dad totally was against you being vegetarian.
Oh yeah, I remember. I remember when I went vegan. He wanted to take me out to ice cream. When I told him, he's like, "Let's go get some ice cream," because he wanted to break me. It
Oh my
worked.
god.
But I did it after that.
will break you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's a control thing too, or maybe people feel like you're trying to be better than them, like they feel guilty.
Mhm.
But yeah, I agree with John. Like telling people that you're vegetarian or you don't eat meat, it's kind of like a weird encounter. Because people are like, oh, or like the other day, Nick and I were at wine night, and
Oh, yeah.
one of the it's basically a place where there's a bunch of wine and then there's food. And he's like, oh, like, yeah, take an empanada. And I was like, oh, I don't eat meat. And then, what do you say to me? And what do you say to me? He's like, have fun with not getting enough protein or something like that. I didn't even hear him, but
Yeah. Oh, enjoy not getting enough protein.
yeah, something like that. And it's just like,
Got him.
people make it weird. People make it weird. I
Yeah.
don't think we're the ones who make it weird. Other people make it weird.
Mhm.
That's
Still
what
make
it
it
is.
weird. Oh man,
Yeah.
Now I'm just remembering stories of. I have one from this is kind of off topic, but there's like a restaurant
Everything's
on
on
campus
topic.
at the U of I. Delicious breakfast place right on Green Street. But went there a few times, and then I went there alone one day, and I was like, "Yeah, just give me an omelet or whatever." I was freaking piece of meat in it. And I was like, no, send this back. Like it was like baked into it. I was like, I ain't eating this. So they bring me a new one. There's meat in it again. I'm eating it again. I'm like, what? It wasn't like one piece. It was like a sprinkle. I'm like,
They gave you extra that second time.
yeah. So
They just brought
I'm
back
like,
the same omelet, you know. They didn't even like.
Yeah. I was like, what do you do? That was the only thing I ordered. And so I was like, I told him again, I'm like, dude, like, no, really, you gotta not do it. So they brought me a third one. It had meat again, and I just walked right out.
Yeah.
What are you supposed to do? Like,
What place was it? Do you remember the name? It's okay to name.
Is
I
it
don't
for
remember the name
breakfast
now.
and more?
Breakfast and more. What was it called? What?
For breakfast and more.
I'd have to get back to you on that. I don't know.
Please don't let it be that
Otherwise-
place. I love that place.
The
Please
only
sponsor
place
our
I remember
podcast.
is Cracked.
It wasn't
But that
Cracked. Cracked was amazing.
Yeah, good place. Shout out to Cracked.
It was the McDonald's on Green Street.
I think it's about time for a short ad break. Should we advertise Cracked?
No, you know
You
we should
can.
advertise the place in Pittsburgh, Nick. What is it called?
Oh, I got it.
Pamela's?
No. Yep.
Go there. That's so good. Pamela's is so good. Get the what do you get? The pancakes, and then what are those eggs with potatoes? What's it called?
Oh my God, the eggs. The Gales. If you're gonna go to Pamela's P&G Diner on Walnut Street in Pittsburgh, you've got to get the Gales' favorite eggs.
They're really
Scrambled
good.
eggs comes with cream cheese and scallions on top. You've got the Lyonnaise potatoes, perfectly fried, crispy brown crunch that you eat. A little bit of hot sauce, pop them in your mouth. Oniony, potatoey, crunchy goodness right in the morning.
It's
Bad
really
for your
good.
heart pressure, good for your taste buds.
Especially good if you're hungover.
Especially good if you're hungover, and you know if you're in Pittsburgh, it's probably going to happen. Don't even get me started about the pancakes. Crepe style pancakes. Light and fluffy, airy, crunchy on the edges, buttery, syrupy. Need I say more? Come to Pamela's P&G Diner, Walnut Street, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Zip code 15232.
Use promo code failure for 25% off your order. So I wanted to go back to something, the point that John made, but to ask Heidi about it, because it sounds like your family was supportive of you being vegetarian, but it sounds like there might have been people in the house who were cooking with meat. And did that ever like bother you, or were you able to like shrug it off and just do your own thing?
Yeah, so I think how the dynamic really went is Mom and I would cook what we want for us, and then I think she cooked for probably everybody else meat, but she ate what I think she cooked basically 2 different dinners, if that's what I remember correctly. But then yeah, and I think he kind of disapproved, our father, but there's a point to like he couldn't really do anything about it. And he was supportive in ways, like he did go grocery shopping and like buy stuff I liked, like fruit, and like for holidays he'd buy me like the tofurkey or like some kind of meat substitute to eat. So he was supportive in ways, I think, after he got over the hump. But I think one main concern was like nutrition, because I was so young that I think he was worried I wasn't gonna get enough protein or.
Yeah. I know I've heard anecdotally before. Also, I'll just say this. All this nutrition stuff we're saying, don't just assume it's true. You got to talk to your doctor. Talk to a dietitian who knows what they're doing.
Sources. Trust me, bro.
Should have said that in the beginning, Nick. Disclaimer.
We'll put it in the beginning. At the time of listening, you have already heard that disclaimer. So, but yeah, you should. I think a big issue is, I mean, regular Americans don't go to a dietitian. When you go vegan or change your diet significantly, you really got to go see a dietitian. Because when you have those big changes, like you might lose nutrients, and I'm surprised you guys didn't mention this, but maybe because you eat eggs. B12, vitamin B12 is you can't get that from vegetables, I think, at all. You can only get that from animal products, but it's really important for some sort of body functions. And that's one of the really important things that if you go vegan, they say you got to take that supplement. And people know that on the internet. Oh, go ahead, Heidi.
I think nutritional yeast has B12 in it. Nooch, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe that's, I think people might consider that a supplement for some reason.
And then isn't it fortified into foods too, like cereals and stuff like that? I think they put it in there.
Yeah. I think what I've heard is it's not naturally occurring in vegetables. Like if you just ate a whole foods diet, like if you never, like maybe they consider nooch like a processed thing, so people wouldn't eat that because they think it's processed.
That's true. I see what you're saying now. Yeah.
big thing. I mean, B12 is one, but all these other things, like people want to say all sorts of crap because one paper is like, oh, does eating spinach not really give you calcium? And then their conclusion is, yeah, if you eat spinach, you didn't get enough calcium, but their study sucked. But people will read that and they don't know how it works because the medical science is really subtle sometimes. And yeah, people will just not get the right takeaway from what it should be. So definitely have to talk to a dietitian.
Yeah, I
That's
was
really
actually going to ask,
interesting.
how much do you guys cook versus eating at restaurants?
Me and
I
Grace
think
probably very rarely go to restaurants. Maybe like once a month,
Wow.
not less. Yeah. Oh, Grace makes me delicious food every day. So
It's impressive,
Shout out to
man.
Grace.
Oh, once a month, that's pretty low. I think I'm definitely more than that. Well, I live with our uncle and aunt, and they like to eat
Uncle
out
Rob,
more.
previous
Uncle
guest, shout out to
Rob,
Rob.
shout out to Uncle Rob and Aunt Jen. They like to eat out more. So, but when I lived by myself before that, yeah, I think I never went out. Like very rarely.
it's
Especially
so
because it was
expensive.
cheaper too, like to eat at home, like just buy your
Mhm.
groceries and eat. So, but now that I live with them, yeah, I would say. But I've been eating more at home. I've been cooking more of my own meals, but I would say at least a couple times, maybe 2 times a week. I'd say
I wonder
that.
if
Pretty good.
that's, well, do you guys do that mostly? It sounds like mostly for money reasons, but there's not, like, you can't just think of any place to go. You have like a handful of places that are good for vegetarians. Is that also a case?
Yeah. Yeah, even before I moved to San Diego, I already knew a couple places that were vegetarian, and I feel like maybe it's just here that there's usually something on the menu.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, don't go out that much actually. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm at once a week, and I do try to meal prep every day and get all my meals in and everything. But once a week, I've got to go out and just get some burger, something like that, and just pick out. And it's also kind of a social thing because on the weekends, go hang out with friends, and we'll just go to some restaurant or something and then hang out.
Did you say pig out? Is that haram?
No, it's not because I didn't say eat a pig. I just said pig out on food.
All right.
Cool.
You sound very doubtful.
Um, I think we're nearing the end of the podcast, and I think I have two more questions. The first I'll ask, why wouldn't somebody want to be vegetarian? What do you guys think? Do you have any ideas?
Maybe you
I
can
think
start.
some people are just closed-minded and they just have like a thought stuck in their head and they just don't want to do it. But I think it's convenience too. I think a big thing is convenience and like nostalgic. It's like a nostalgic feeling eating meat. And like you and Harris talked about in your last podcast, like food is more than just food. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's more to it than just eating it. Like you feel happy when you eat. I think it's more of a nostalgia thing too.
Mm-hmm.
I take a bite of that chicken and I get that dopamine rush.
And I think you have to have a reason for it too. I think that makes it easier. Like if you're doing it for the animals, it makes it easier because you have like a motivation. Or if you're doing it for health reasons, you have like a motivation. Like, I think you have to have a reason to do it. If you're just saying, I'm just gonna do it to do it, I think it could be hard because it's like a diet. Like, oh, I'm gonna eat this donut. Well, it doesn't really matter, because
Right.
it's just donut.
Got it. I would say if you are gonna eat junk food as a vegetarian and you don't want to put the time and effort into like kind of planning out your new diet, I wouldn't be a vegetarian. You kind of have to start thinking about it a lot more, and if you're not gonna be able to do that, it probably will be less healthy for you to do it. So I wouldn't in that case.
Yeah.
True. Very true. Yeah, it is
Second
more
question.
effort.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And it's a lot more to think about. So then the next question is, do you guys have any desire to go back?
No, I don't. I've been thinking about this, but no, I think I'm just so originally I did it for the animals, but now I'm just so used to it. Like I feel good eating like this. I remember when I first started doing it, I felt like 11, 12 years ago. I felt good. I was like, "Oh, I feel so good doing this."
Mhm.
But now
Feels
I
so
think I'm just so
good.
used to it. I don't think I have a desire because like I don't think I'm happy how I eat. I don't think I need to eat meat. So
Mhm.
no, I don't think I would.
I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary, and I've been thinking about starting to eat meat.
Mhm.
I will say after our podcast, I think I'll continue to stay a vegetarian.
Woo!
I'm not really sure why.
Not sure.
Yeah,
Um,
it's more of like you're losing the sight of the goal or the motivation. Is that what you mean?
no, I mean I'm more inclined to continue my current diet.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought.
yeah,
And
you're
also,
not. You're like when you said you're losing sight of why. You mean like the reason of why to start eating meat again?
Um, I don't know. I guess I've been thinking about the reasons, and I think I have been eating healthier than maybe I would have otherwise. And
Mhm.
so I want to keep doing that. And then cost of meat, so it's going to be increasing my
Yeah.
grocery budget. And not like I really. Your question is, do I ever like? Why did I want to do it after 10 years? It's because the taste.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
I will miss some like ribs, or I've been wanting to eat a steak, but this is on the podcast. I didn't want to eat a steak, but I don't know why. I never really liked it when I did eat meat. So
Mhm.
things like that, and maybe it's because I needed more protein. I haven't really felt like that in the last 2 weeks or something when I've been trying to go for
Yeah.
tons of protein, and yeah.
Dang. Okay, I lied. There's one more question. So finally, any advice if you, I mean, you guys have been vegetarian for 10 plus years. Would you guys give yourselves any advice if you went back to who you were when you started? Like, oh, you should worry about this? Or do you think like the journey is kind of what you just have to go through? And even if you gave yourself advice, that's what would have been?
Um,
Uh,
I, I didn't think it was that hard switching or doing it. So
Quote, was not that hard. Remember that,
yeah,
Get
everybody.
I do it
good.
another 10 years.
Yeah.
I eat fish though, so it's like also I do eat meat
Yeah.
a
To
little
some
bit.
extent.
What about you, Heidi?
yeah, I didn't have too hard of a time. I think because I was what like 11, so I didn't have like the I think I wasn't set in my ways yet. And I had a buddy, I had my mom to do it with me. But I would say advice is to have like a supportive, surround yourself with someone who's like doing it with you. I think that makes it a lot easier. And then if you do slip up, just keep doing it. 'Cause then eventually, because yeah, I ate some meat, but then I just kept going, and then eventually, I didn't eat meat anymore. You just get used to it. You just get, it gets to a point where you don't even think about it, you know, like you don't think about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So keep failing a little bit, and eventually you will succeed.
Yeah, I keep
Yeah.
failing a little bit, and then you just keep going. But
Awesome.
There you go.
Well, thank you guys. This was a really fun conversation. Again, my name was Nick. My co host was Harris. Our guests were Heidi and Jonathan. The podcast is failing forward. And next week, Harris, do you want to give a little sneak peek or do you want to keep the viewers in suspense?
Keep them in suspense.
no, I want to know. You're gonna
It's
keep
gonna
me
be
in
a secret.
suspense.
It's a secret.
It's a secret
You'll
for
find out
now.
when it comes out. Well, join us in our next episode. Thank you all for listening. Again, this is Failing Forward. We are out.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.